What? Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome. Good morning. Welcome to Hump Day with Hansen. I'm Hansen. And we got Tommy T on the other side of the glass producing this program here on a Wednesday morning, September 18th. And this is episode 3 of this live broadcast, live stream deal. And first couple of weeks, I'm just trying to get through it. Let's, answer questions, basically. Just show up and answer some questions. But I do have a little bit of content here to give out as well, but certainly we'll be taking your questions here live on our YouTube channel. And that YouTube channel, by the way, is growing exponentially, up over 11,000 subscribers, up from, I don't even know where the hell we were, maybe 3-4 months ago. I don't know, 7,000, 8,000. So our guy Trey and Thomas are kicking ass on that front. So thank you out there in America and beyond on the interwebs for liking it and subscribing to the channel and giving us some love here, hooking us up. The algorithm is getting to know us a little bit here. All right, without any further ado, it's Wednesday morning. I am still kind of scrambling all over the place, kind of putting everything in place for the upcoming week, kind of trying to put last week behind me. We do the trade analysis on Tuesday, and the article is up on the website. I'm going to cover that as well here. Actually, I'll start there, but still a little early in the week. Wednesday is a big day for research for yours truly. We go into Thursday. We got the Thursday night special. I mean, it goes quickly. It really, truly does. So without any further ado, let me get into some thoughts here on the trade market here. If you are a subscriber to the website, of course, you see the article. I know there's a lot of content up at FantasyPoints.com, maybe hard to find every once in a while. We got the Game Hub. We got Scott Barrett's Everything Report. We got the Ass Report. I mean, who doesn't love Ass Reports? Average separation score. And then we have my week 3 players to trade and trade for. Let me get into this real quick. Well, the poster guy, and by the way, I mean, maybe I'm weird, but I take a little pride in this. I've had a string for a couple of years now. Didn't work out last week, but like the guy that I put on the cover of the trade for article goes off the next week. That happened a lot last year in the last couple of years. Not going to happen this week, just like last week, because the guy on the cover is Jordan Love. Like, let's look around the quarterback room, if you will, and it's suspect out there. So I know Jordan Love was my guy this year. We're not off to a great start, but we could still, from this point, he could miss this week, and I still think he could throw 30 touchdowns from week 4 on. Let's just give him one more week off this week, and we'll see if he practices today. I believe Jordan Love can throw, or actually account, because he had, 4 on the ground last year? I think he can account for 30 touchdowns from week 4 on, which would, I think, be obviously needle moving. That's, what's that, like 2.35 tutties a game. I don't think that's too much to ask for Jordan Love. I mean, let's look at our quarterback leaders. Baker, obviously he's balling. It's only 2 games. He'll hit a rough patch or 2. Jalen Hurts, not great vibes there. Derek Carr, are we believing in Derek Carr? Kyler Murray will probably get hurt and wear down. Lamar might as well. I mean, maybe not, but Josh Allen is not throwing it all that much. Jaden Daniels is, in fact, getting hit like he is in a cartoon through 2 games. He's like Wile E. Coyote out there, or, whatever. Daffy Duck. Anthony Richardson's kind of all over the map. Stroud's been steady and solid, but he's not lighting it up. No one's lighting it up, of course, including Patrick Mahomes, who has, he's averaging 1.5 touchdown passes a game. Not much. He's not really running all that much, by the way. So all of a sudden you're like, wow, Brock Purdy is going to be without Deebo Samuel. Joe Burrow, certainly he's a QB1. He played well last week. I mean, I like him. I love him. But they've got issues here. By the way, he will go off this week, though, will Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. So all of a sudden, you really look at it, man. I think Jordan Love is a potential needle mover for sure. The other quarterback that I had on there, I will, in fact, still look at Brock Purdy. No doubt about it. Vibes are bad. Not great with Debo, but he still has Ayuk. He still has a pretty good schedule. Rams, Patriots, Cardinals, Seahawks, KC Chiefs, Dallas, number one pick Ricky Pearsall. I mean, I think he might play in a couple of weeks. And Jawan Jennings, man, he was balling last week. He's still pretty good. Didn't have much else at the quarterback market here in terms of the players to trade for article. I'll pop out just a couple of other options here for those wondering. I look really hard at this stuff. Like, I take a lot of pride. I hate being wrong and I love being right. Let's be honest here. So I do the work that I need to do, hopefully, to get it right. So I look long and hard. I consider a lot of different things when I come up with these names. I look at the schedule, of course. I have a full understanding of where these players are in terms of the course of the season, seasons within a season. Jalen Warren, running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, for example, was injured all summer, basically. Didn't look great in week one. I thought it looked a lot better in week two. I looked at all the data. He was in the top half of the league in a lot of the key metrics, like 12th out of 55 running backs in yards after contact per attempt. Najee Harris, I believe, is also a buy, but Jalen Warren, I think you can get a nice little ROI because I actually projected them to both be top 24 running backs. I do believe that Arthur Smith, and I thought the Steeler O-line would be a lot better. I thought they could produce two RB2s, believe it or not, albeit low-end RB2s. I think Najee's looking strong, but, Jalen Warren's usage last week was pretty solid. How about Brandon Ayuk? I mean, it's an obvious one. He crushes generally without Debo. He's got 24 grabs in his last 4 games without Debo for 348. That's a pretty good number. Just hasn't scored all that much. Very, very obvious buy low guy. I got Garrett Wilson on here as well. Certainly he's been, tamped down a little bit, like suppressed a little bit by Aaron Rodgers. Still a little rusty, but they're coming along here. He's 6th in target percentage among 128 receivers with at least one target, 10th in air yards share, but he's only 38th in yards per reception or yards per route run and 69th in yards per target. So I do believe that things will start getting a little bit better. Another obvious one would be Deontay Johnson. I know his ass score wasn't very good, but he's an ass man. Schedule is pretty good as well. Raiders, Bengals, Bears, Falcons, Commandos, Broncos, Saints, Giants. A couple of good corners in there, but, they're going to man up on them. Deontay does well against man, and, of course, Andy Dalton. How about Christian Watson? I mean, there's a buy low. Come on. I know he's a little tough to deal with the volatility, but he does get a lot of money looks in this offense, downfield, red zone. I've spoken with Christian Watson about being like a Debo Samuel type of guy. He's all about it. They need to do a little bit more of that. They should, when Jordan Love returns, they should get the ball in this guy's hands early. Get him going, get him feeling it and all that. And I think that would probably help them. But I still think he's a good buy low guy, as is Rome Odunze. Look, I thought it was a joke where he was going this summer. I mocked it all summer. Right now, the dude is wide receiver 88, but Keenan Allen is literally a decade older, exactly 10 years. I mean, that's a long-ass time. It's kind of funny to look at that. That's kind of what I was talking about. Who is the running back? Oh, Jalen Wright. He's 11 years younger than Raheem Mostert. It's ridiculous. But Keenan Allen already hurt. DJ Moore struggling, of course, with Caleb Williams. But, it's a long season. I would want to get Rome for at a very good discount, of course. Not for now, obviously, but for the long haul, because there will be a time this year when they actually need Rome Odunze like big time. How about Chris Olave? It's a really, really, really good one. Olave was targeted on nearly half of his routes last week. Currently ranks as having the 3rd best average separation score. Luckily for me, we're not measuring ass for fantasy analysts because my ass is awful. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Every once in a while, I give my wife a big hug. I'm so sorry. Terrible ass. Anyway, Christian Kirk. I know it's ugly, but we're talking buy low, sell high, all that. That was a nasty matchup last week against the Browns. I did not like him at all. He's getting a lot of air yards, horrible catch rate. I mean, they're throwing him way downfield. So I think things will clean up. He'll start getting some of those easier layup type of grabs. They need him, no doubt about it. Schedule lightens up. I know the vibes aren't great there. I mean, I've never been a Doug Peterson guy. Like people are like, oh, he won a Super Bowl. I'm like, yeah, I don't know about this. I don't know if how much credit we give Doug P. And here we go. It's not good. He's just completely settled into a place of mediocrity. Some players to trade in the article, man. Kyron Williams. Again, I guess my three biggest takeaways that were differing from everybody else this summer were don't draft Christian McCaffrey, don't draft Cooper Kupp, and I'm not paying up for Kyron Williams. Now, he does have a couple of touchdowns, but it's not going well. 2.5 yards a carry. That's not good. O-line banged up. I mean, he had a couple short tutties that were kind of fortuitous here. You take one or two of those away, now he's really a jag out there. He's got 4.4 yards a catch. Matthew Stafford. There's already talk of trading Stafford, which would obviously be catastrophic. O-line beat up, like I said. And, we got Blake Corum starting to get some reps. So, I mean, maybe they find a way to hold it together and he gets the ball and he continues to score short touchdowns. But I go the other way on it, man. We don't want to sell low, but sometimes you do sell a descending stock or a tumbling stock because the ROI might get worse, considerably worse, over the next week or two. Now, here's a controversial one, but I'm just trying to get it right. I'm trying to use my intuition, my spidey sense on Malik Neighbors. I never disputed the fact that he was an absolute stud. And in another situation, if you followed me, you would know that, I mean, I'd be all over this guy, but I just have heard a couple of things off the field. It's the New York media market. I think Brian Daboll is probably dead man walking. The Giants are 0-2. They're going to lose a lot of games. They're probably going to bail on Danny Dimes. Bill Belichick is probably going to be the head coach next year. Like that, I think is going to happen. Like I'm old enough to remember Bill Belichick, my Babe Ruth baseball coach, who actually got me into fantasy, was a Giant season ticket holder. His family was, actually, because this dude at the time was in his 20s still, mid to late 20s. Anyway, I used to go to Giant games with him way back in the late 80s. Bill Belichick was a legend for Giant fans, even going back to the 80s. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl. They won a couple of them with Billy B. So, Mara family, Belichick loves the Giants. He loves that building, new building, but I know that I saw that video of him walking through the old, I guess, his old office or whatever. Maybe they still have that facility. Maybe it's off-site or not in the actual building where they play. Anyway, I think the vibes are going to get bad with Malik Neighbors. I just don't see it. And by the way, Malik Neighbors is not doing crap this weekend against the Browns. I had him at wide receiver 10 for the week last week. Not like I'm that shocked, but he's not doing anything against the Browns. If he does, that's a great, great sign. Like when I say not doing anything, he'll catch. I would think he's going to catch 5 balls, but for like 57. Nothing special here. That's a nasty matchup. The Cleveland Browns. Obviously, the Dolphin guys. Like sorry, is all I can say. Because Skylar Thompson, I know they rally around him. He's got moxie. Not much in terms of a passer of the football. He did beat out Mike White, though, or said with a New Jersey/Philadelphia accent, Moik White. He did beat him out. I think Philly should sign him just so I can hear people talk about Moik White. But, man, it's panic time already. Tua's out at least 4 games. I actually think Jonnu Smith is going to be a check down Charlie. He'll be a thing. So, okay, there's a quick look at some of the top players to trade and trade for, just kind of like recapping the article. Let me go and, let's take a look at some questions here as I have a little bit of a new system here. I got a new setup over here. I got like a monitor, very fancy, very fancy. All right. Josh or Mahomes and Kelsey Cook. Kelsey did have a big catch and run called back, and I believe he got tackled right at the 1 or 2. I mean, Mahomes isn't cooked, obviously. There's a chance that we're seeing something noticeable with Kelsey. I mean, we have all been seeing it and sensing it. I'm not going to go there yet. I'm not. But, it's in my mind as well. I'm thinking about it as well. Last year, don't forget, I was wondering about it late in the year. Then he took that week off and he was balling a half out. So, yeah, I mean, it's legitimate concern time. There's no doubt about it. Absolutely. But I'm not there yet. Bourbon05 says, good morning. I picked up Quentin Johnston, says Bourbon50. Should I start him versus the Steelers? It's funny. I did list Quentin Johnston as my number one pickup on the waiver wire portion of that article that I do. And what I was going to add is go get him, pick him up right now, pick him up, go get him, go. And then bench him this week because he's up against Joey Porter and the Steelers. And that is advantage Joey Porter, who was giving up 0.19 fantasy points per route run, which is very, very good. In terms of the action that he gets, targets per route run, man, he is way down the list. I mean, he is one of the least targeted corners out there. So, no, sorry, man. But, good pickup. Proud of you. He also asked Goff or Daniels. I mean, I think at this point, let's just keep rolling with Daniels until he proves us wrong for doing it. Jared Goff let a lot of people down last week. Might actually be a decent buy low guy, at the very least, Sammy Laporta. I have not done my own rankings here yet, but we can take a look at the actual projections up on the site done by Chris Wecht, by the way. So FYI, those who do not know that, Chris Wecht is, he's Mr. Data Scientist and all that. He has taken that over, and there's a lot of reasons why. One being they're a little bit more optimized for DFS is the fact of the matter. But for those who are still looking for what I think about rankings and the like, I am still doing it, and I do a rough projection. I don't do a hardcore projection, but they do come with projected fantasy points. And I'm not just like throwing numbers out there. Like, there's some thought to it. But, yeah, we do have Daniels higher here, Bourbon. We've got Daniels at QB5 for the week against Cincinnati. And Goff, where the hell's Goff at? He's down the board there, Arizona. See, the problem with Goff this week, it's in Detroit. That's good. Or is it? I'm not even sure. It's going to be a Jahmyr Gibbs game. They're going to run the ball a lot. Our guy, Stephen O'Rourke, had a great stat in terms of, I'll call it up right now, actually, if I could find it. I got so many damn tabs open here. But, yeah, here it is. Get ready for Jahmyr Gibbs and the Lions to run the ball. This is kind of a trend that they do after a loss. In games after a loss in 2023, Jahmyr Gibbs led the Lion backfield in carry share, 61% to 39%. And in a game after the loss, the Lions run-pass split moved to obviously more run-heavy. They went up to 61% run-heavy versus 53% in other situations. And Jahmyr Gibbs averaging 5.9 on zone runs this year, and they'll get a lot of those. So good week for Jahmyr Gibbs, and maybe not for Jared Goff. Let's keep going here. Oh, man. We got Indira. What's up, Indira? You are really endearing yourself to us, Indira, by the way. Rashad White, Pittman, or Cooks in PPR. Ooh, boy. Let's take a look at, on the website, by the way, you can certainly do rankings for all non-quarterback positions for your flex spot. I want to see, I mean, White really is scaring me here. I don't think he's going to need much in the passing game against Denver. That's the problem. I mean, Denver can be run on, but their offense is also absolutely brutal. I mean, I don't feel really warm and fuzzy about Pittman either. It's probably going to have to be Pittman. Let's take a look. Ba-ba-da-ba. Man, I hate this question. Well, we got White at 13.9. Maybe it is White. Yeah, because Pittman, man. Oh, boy. Yeah, we got Pittman with 12.3 and Cooks. I don't know what to think after last week. I was feeling good going into last week, and then last week happened. It was a little ugly. The game got away from them. I thought Jalen Tolbert, if you watch the game, was balling, though. All right, well, we're going to suck it up with White because he's not dead with Bucky Irvin coming on. He's not dead. They do love White. I mean, I've passed that along. I know that for a fact. But they also love winning. And the fact of the matter is Bucky Irving is crushing White. He's like 4 times better in terms of yards before contact. So he is creating a lot more than Rashad is. And again, my fear with Rashad is that he's bulked up a little bit, maybe too much. He's paid a little bit too much attention and put a little too much time into bulking up, to withstand the rigors of a full season, which is what he told me last year. And it worked because he did take a pounding and he did keep on coming. But I do believe he's lost a little bit of the juice. Steve says, hit those likes, people. Preach, Steve. Preach. Brian. I love Steve. Brian. Zamir Waddle in my flex this week. I know Antonio Pierce is not happy. I'm going Zamir. Antonio Pierce is not happy about their running game. I think he called it, horse shit? Something like that. But you, this week, have the Panthers. It's in LV. Zamir White should get 20 carries. I know Alexander Madison's coming on here and all that, but they don't dislike Zamir White. I mean, they maybe not loving him on third down and as a hurry-up back. If you have Zamir White and you don't start him this week against Carolina at home, you should cut him. That would start Zamir White. There it is. There it is, Brian. Let's go next to Rims and Tims. There's our first Playboy reference. Thank you for taking the time to do the stream. Yeah, well, it's on the schedule. I committed. I told our guy Trey I'll do it, and here I am, week 3. Thank you, Rims and Tims. Thank you for calling me Playboy. You're the only person in the last 30 years to call me Playboy. George, half a point PBR. I have Burrow Mixon and Dameon Pierce. Would you drop Dameon Pierce for Cam Akers going forward? Man, this is a tough one. Can we wait till today? Because if Pierce is out of practice today, then for sure I would. Because just in case Joe Mixon doesn't play in week 3, I think obviously if Mixon is out and Pierce is still hobbled and limited or out, then it's Cam Akers. I'm going to go Cam. I mean, I don't want to be irresponsible, but the bottom line is, while they didn't go out and pay a lot of money for Cam or whatever, they did get him, the current staff. The current staff did inherit Dameon Pierce. So we've been waiting for him to kind of show some signs of life. We're still not getting it. Meanwhile, the vibes have been pretty good on Cam Akers. So I would have to lean toward Cam Akers. I don't want to get that one wrong. Yeah. Brian also says, if you came out off of week 2 unscathed, you are a lucky SOB. I've been pretty lucky thus far, although not that lucky, because my top quarterback and tight end to target this year was Jordan frickin' Love and Ferguson, and I have them in a number of leagues. I have one league where I lost in a high-stakes FFPC. I lost Love, Ferguson, and Ken Walker, and somebody else, and I believe I'm 0-2. So it sucks. We need more Brett Whitefield on this YouTube channel. I agree. he will be here tomorrow doing the live stream as we do every Thursday night. One of the problems is everybody loves the content, but we're not just making this stuff up. It takes a lot of time, and he's out there doing all the tape study, he's watching every damn play of every damn game, and that takes a long time. But that's why we get him good on Thursday, because he's already done everything he's going to do on Thursday. Oh, man, this is the easiest question I'll get all week. Kevin Dole, Quentin Johnston, or Georgie Pickens? The answer is clearly George Pickens. George Pickens should absolutely crush it this week with that really, really good matchup. I was looking at some of the matchup data here. Georgie is going to see a lot of Christian Fulton for the Chargers, the former Titan, who is extremely beatable. They're also pretty tough to run on these days. No, I love George this week. It's a George week. Philip says, we love you too, Philip. Which backup Chief running backs are you most into while Pacheco is out? It's just something about Carson Steele. I think it's a fake name. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to go with Piron there. When in doubt, I'll go with the pass catcher. A target can be worth, what is it? One target can be worth or equal to like 2.5 carries in terms of fantasy point expectancy, if you will. One target, you haul that in, there's a point. You got to get 10 yards on a carry. You're not getting 10 yards on a carry. Most guys aren't doing that. You're going to need at least 2, probably 3 to get to 10 damn yards. Whereas if you get a target, that's a catch, and you catch it, of course, that's a point, obviously, and in the yardage. So they brought him in there because he's really good in pass protection and all that. And the thing I like about Piron, you know what? He's bald, and bald guys try harder. That's what I think. So that's why I'm going to go with Samaje Piron. Let's go to Dan next. Good morning. My quarterbacks are Goff and Lawrence. Would you trade Mostert and Lawrence for Love? We're trading away Mostert, whose value is who the hell knows right now, with the offense going to be not as potent. That is for sure with Skylar Thompson. Would I trade Mostert and Lawrence for Love? Lawrence, I'm not giving up on. He'll probably end the year as like QB 14, though it won't be pretty. Wasn't he a QB1 last year? Talk about BS final stats. I'm going to pull it up because I'm pretty sure he was a QB1 to close out the season in total points, which is disgusting because there was very few moments where he truly felt like a QB1. Yeah, he was QB12 on the season. So he was a QB1. Availability is an attribute. It's a positive because you look at all the total points leaders from last year, they all played 16 or 17 games, with the lone exception being CJ Stroud, who played 15. So you got to be available first and foremost. And Love is not, obviously, right now. So I'd probably hold off on it here, Dan, and just hope for the best, I guess. Now, hold up a second. If I did feel like, let's say I had the running back depth and I'm a really needle-moving quarterback away from having a really good team, okay, maybe then I would. But generally, it seems a little risky. Buddy Guy says, good morning. Good morning. Brian says, P. Ryan, baby. Yep. Alex is worried about Waddle. What wide receiver or running back should I try to get for him? That's a good question. Let me take a look at. Let's try and pair Tyreek and Waddle with appropriate and viable running back options. We could look at another damaged good in like Kyron Williams or Joe Mixon, but let's see. Let's start with Waddle because that was the actual question. Like a Najee Harris. I don't think you can get Jordan Mason or Ramondre or James Conner. ETN would be nice. Tank Bigsby didn't really do all that much this past week. As for Tyreek, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard,
we're not getting a lot in return, but also we're selling essentially a depressed asset in Tyreek Hill. But yeah, there you go. I mean, I think I'm pretty good with this, but I don't pop names and examples out there because it's hard. There's so many other elements involved, man. It's a little difficult. Let's go next to McSkeet. Man, we have a bunch of Sirius XM listeners. I guess people miss me a little bit. I am still on. I'm a man of my word. Everything I said this summer is coming true. I'm going to be doing more YouTube videos and available like this. I wouldn't be doing this if I was still on Sirius XM. I can tell you that right now. You know what I'd be doing right now if I was still on Sirius XM? Literally taking a freaking nap because I'm rolling at 6 a.m. or 6:30 on like 5 hours of sleep every morning. Buddy Guy says, wide receiver trouble this week. PPR, I need 2 out of Quentin Johnston, Deontay Johnston, McLaurin. Man, freaking McLaurin. I mean, he got the action last week. I was feeling that, and it just did not happen. It's just not really happening yet with Jaden Daniels, the downfield stuff. Let's take a look at it's definitely not Quentin Johnston. It's either Deontay or McLaurin. Let's see where Chris Wecht has it as a starting point. McLaurin at wide receiver 27 and Deontay at wide receiver 19. Yeah, it's a tough one because it's a little bit of a leap of faith each way. Deontay going to see a lot of Bennett and Jack Jones, who are pretty decent, actually, the corners for the Raiders. And then McLaurin, man, he's got kind of a tougher matchup. Cam Taylor-Britt, although he gives up production. He made that great interception. Yeah, I'm going to go with Deontay. And believe it or not, I think I have more confidence, at least for this week, in Andy Dalton getting production out of his receivers, number one, compared to Jaden Daniels at this point. Andy Dalton has been really good. If you watch Andy Dalton the last couple of years, it's just my personal takeaway. I felt like he was a guy who was never letting it rip. You know what I mean? First 5, 6, 7, 8 years of the career. But now I feel like he's like in DGAF mode. He's like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to get a new hairstyle. People have been kind of teasing me, making fun of my ginger appearance. Screw it. I'm just going out there and sling it. And that's what he's doing. And it works. It really works. So I'm somewhat optimistic about Deontay here with Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, back there. Steve needs 3 for these 2 PPR flex spots and the tight end spot. So which 3 of these guys? Warren, Jalen Warren, Gus Edwards, Darnell Mooney, Christian Kirk, Parkinson, and Ferguson. I mean, I like Jalen Warren every week going forward under Farty Smith. And I'm not worried at all about the Chargers. That should be a closer game. I don't think the Chargers are going to put up a lot of points. So Warren's in. I'm not using Gus Edwards against Pittsburgh's defense. They've been nasty. Mooney does have a chance. My guy Mooney, I know he's a pain in the ass, but he is got something to offer, basically. Let's frame it that way. Comes through last week. Could be a guy this week as they look to take out Drake London is kind of what they're doing, the Chiefs. But I'm definitely going Kirk. This is the week. This is it. Make no mistake for Christian Kirk, who's had a couple of bad matchups. This week, though, he'll get a much better coverage shell, basically, for the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, who does very well against those 2 high safeties. And they have been a little sus guarding slot receivers. So this is the week. This is it. Christian Kirk will get it done against the Buffalo Bills. And then if Ferguson goes, you got to go with Ferguson. I wrote on Monday or Sunday that it was it's a tight end friendly offense. They throw the tight end a lot. And, I thought that Luke Schoonmaker was a decent fill-in, plug-in guy if you had Ferguson. He was a little bit more than that. Stevens says 444 Stevens needs Shakir or Pickens to replace Debo. How about my guy Shakir, though? He's kicking ass. I mean, he's not totally kicking ass, but compared to the rest of the receivers through 2 games, it is what we thought it was going to be. Khalil Shakir is the one. He is Mr. Third down conversion as well. He is good at the game of football. But, man, we're going Pickens all day long this week. George is hungry. He's going to eat. He's actually hangry, George, and he will, in fact, eat. I always go back to when I chopped it up with George at the Combine. My man was one of the most energetic dudes I've ever talked to. Like, he's just ready to go at all times. He's just a ball of energy. I'm sure sometimes that goes to the negative side of things, but, man, he is a handful. I couldn't even imagine trying to compete with that guy athletically. Just being able to chop it up with him, stand there, talk with him for 10 minutes. He's all over the place. He's like moving around. He's a little fidgety. Like I said, ball of energy in a good way. Steve says, what's going on with Kirk? I think his season will turn around. I can pull up data here. They gotta rethink or retool the way he's been utilized the last couple of weeks. That could just be a matchup type of thing, but he is way, way up there on the ADOT chart. So let me take a look here. I mean, I'm looking right now at 258 receivers. So that's like literally everyone. And some of these guys have run like 3 routes. But there he is, 15th out of 258. So think about that. Christian Kirk, the slot receiver, has the 15th highest average depth of target out of 258 receivers. 17.4? I mean, that might explain how my man's rolling with a catch rate at 28%. Like, he did have a beautiful 30-yard play in week 1. Right down the seam. It was great. Perfect timing, and it was awesome. But that's it. That's all he's done this year. So that's why. So that, I think that changes, obviously. I mean, how many freaking slot receivers have a 17-yard ADOT? Brian says A-Rich has been a big bust. Well, I mean, has he? For fantasy, I mean, we don't really care too much about real football. He is a little all over the place there. But, he's one of these guys, like, you'll make 7 bad plays and then 1 brilliant play that offsets the 7 bad plays. But he's a QB1. I mean, you can't really complain that much about him, right? QB8. I guess he wasn't that great last week, but yeah, fair enough. I mean, he's got 4 picks, and that does not help. But fair enough. Let's go to Brent, let's go PPR, Higgins, Shakir, Chase Brown, Odunze, or Warren in the flex. I am going to go, Warren. Yeah, Warren. We don't know about Higgins, so we'll see about that. But Warren, I'm feeling good about Warren in general. Pittsburgh's O-line is going to come together here. Jalen Warren is looking pretty darn good here. I actually have another doc where I should load this where I can pull up some basic stats and data. Our guy Brock has made this for me a couple years ago where it was really handy on the radio, honestly, where I could simply call up a player and see exactly what his opponent was giving up here. So let's take a look at the Chargers and see what they're giving up over the first couple of weeks. Data can sometimes be a little sketchy. Need at least 4 weeks. But, they're giving up 4.2 yards a carry, and they're giving up catches. A lot of them. 2 running backs, 6.5. So there you go. I like Warren this week. Let's go to, David. My top 2 players to trade are in his starting lineup, Kyron and Mixon. Well, hey, doesn't mean I'm right. I'm just a little worried about Mixon. He's had a couple of problems here in the, what was that, a quad that he had all summer. I mean, he does have just under 2,000 touches on the career resume, so that's a little bit of a concern. Do you think I should get rid of Pittman and Swift? If so, what is a realistic 2-for-1? Yeah, that's a good point. Swift, is getting a lot of work. Problem is he's not doing crap with the work. So you're selling low on both guys. But again, I like to buy low and I don't like to sell low. But sometimes you have no choice because in 2 weeks, you're selling low this week. Sucks, right? But it doesn't suck as bad as selling low in 2 weeks because you're selling lower in 2 weeks. So what would be a good 2-for-1? Well, I'm not sure what exactly you need, but let's take a look at a running back. Like you got Pittman and Mixon. Mixon did crush it in week 1. So we're not giving these people away like James Cook. Kamara, I mean, that'd be great. I mean, not a great lot of Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, that'd be wonderful. Jonathan Taylor, that'd be fantastic. Hell, I might even do it for Jordan Mason at this point. My God, that's unbelievable. I might even do it for Ramondre. That's pretty good. I mean, he's doing well. I did like him this summer. He was on my list. He's doing well. I didn't push him all that much though, because the team I thought was going to suck, and they're doing a little bit better, but they are still going to suck. So maybe you can pry Ramondre away. That would be pretty good. C. Swan goes, a guy in our league is 0-2. He said he's willing to trade McCaffrey for points now. How much would you give up for him knowing the uncertainty? Well, I'd ideally like to trade away old guys. Can I do that? Can I trade away Devontae Adams, and I don't know, maybe James Conner if I don't need him, Devontae Adams, J.K. Dobbins, and just hope that Dobbins gets hurt again. Not that we're hoping for it for him. I'm rooting for the guy. He's showed a ton of toughness. How about Aaron Jones? Would you be? I'm personally not doing it, by the way, here, C. Swan, because I've been panicked about McCaffrey all year, dating back to last year in week 17 when I swear he was hurt before he got hurt because I didn't think he looked good. And then all of a sudden, oh, look, he's hurt, he's out. And he didn't practice for 3 weeks leading up to the playoffs. Moving on here. Byron is he's answering questions now. Thank you, Byron. Indira asks, how are you feeling about Burrow after the loss last week? I'm feeling all right. Obviously Burrow, they lost. You don't like to see losses for your guys, honestly. You don't want to see them pile up because then you worry about like other things starting to unravel. Like, do we lose a locker room, all that? But we're not there yet. The Bengals are used to this. I feel pretty good. Let's take a look at Burrow's schedule. Obviously, we need to get another guy. That's been, I think, the main problem. A little bit of pass pro issues. By the way, all a moot point this week because they're crushing Washington. It's in Cincy. Jamar Chase is going off. They won't have an answer for Chase. He's catching 10 balls for $150 and a touchdown. So Burrow is 250/2 at least. Then we have Carolina. It's a pretty good matchup. Baltimore's not really scaring people. Giants, a good matchup. So I'm good with Burrow except for week 7. I don't know what it is. Well, some of it has to do with the fact that the Browns have excellent personnel. Do not start Joe Burrow at Cleveland. Just don't do it. Like he is an Ohio guy. Maybe that's part of it. Let's take a look at Burrow's numbers. I mean, even in Cincy, Burrow sucks against the Browns. I don't know, again, I don't know what it is. I think it's a combination of a lot of things. The Browns are pretty good. The Browns probably match up pretty well. They've got 3 good corners typically. He is from Ohio. There's something going on there, but it's bad. Let's take a look here. I'm just curious just to call that up. So first game, all right, well, make a liar out of me. Why don't you Burrow? He crushed them in 2020. Absolutely crushed them. But since 2021, 282, no touchdowns, 2 picks. Then he tore his ACL. Then he came back that was 2021. 2022, he threw for an average of 235 with 2 tutties, but he also threw a pick in both games. So basically he had identical numbers, 235/2 with a pick. and he didn't do anything on the ground. And then last year, he had 82 yards against the Browns, and that was in Cleveland. That was repugnant. 14 of 31 for 82 yards, and he did not play in that last one. So there you go. Feel okay about Burrow in general. We'll worry about week 7 in week 7. Sean asks or says, one guy I'm not seeing getting much love but has a big start this year is Alec Pierce. He had a snap counts of 85 and 94% the first 2 weeks. Problem is with Pierce, I like Pierce. I kind of oversold him. He does have some limitations. I thought teaming him with AR was perfect, which it's showing to be thus far. But he doesn't have a complete game. There's not a lot of targets to go around. And Josh Downs is a problem. Between A.D. Mitchell and when Josh Downs returns, I just don't see enough volume for Pierce. But you're right. I mean, this is the frustration of this job. It's like, yeah, I think he's going to be pretty good here with AR. Let's go there. Let's go with that. And then he's not. But then you see signs of, yeah, he is, but it's just not consistent enough. Let's go next to the question. Is trading Achane and St. Brown for DK and Jonathan Taylor and Michael J. Pittman? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to suck it up with Achane and Amon-Ra and hope that Achane continues to crush in the passing game, which he probably will with Skyler in there. He has Kyler and running backs for Ramondre, Mason Pollard, Monty, and Rashad White. Okay, so I understand you're looking maybe to get Jonathan Taylor. Nah, I'm going to stick with Achane and Amon-Ra. I mean, Achane is a massive cheat code in the passing game right now. I understand it's Skyler, but much less worried about Achane catching the ball from Skylar Thompson than Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Steve asks, do you feel like Mooney and Cousins will be a solid connection all season? Yeah, I do. I liked Mooney this year, much to people's chagrin, because I seem like always like Mooney. But Kirk Cousins lobbied for Mooney to go to the Falcons. They actually paid him more than the Bears were willing to pay him. Mooney kind of bet on himself. People kind of laughed at him. Oh, you bet on yourself and you had a crappy year. Well, the Bears did try and lock him in before the season started, but he actually ended up getting a better deal from the Falcons. And maybe the part of that was Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins went to bat for him and said, oh, we got to get this Darnell Mooney here, because Kirk Cousins has watched Darnell Mooney get open over and over again live in the field against the Bears twice a year, I think. And he's like seeing Mooney die without a quarterback who can get him the ball down the field. So we're off to a decent start after week 2. Indira asks how I'm feeling about Michael J. Pittman. I'm scared S-less, Indira. I'm very worried. So there's that. El Pablo asks, good morning, El Pablo. Do you think I should try and move Waddle or hold the line? I would try and move Waddle. He's weak at running back. Yeah. Damn. Javonte, Spears, Charbs, Wright, and Warren. I mean, you got good usage from Javonte last week. I mean, it's like pulling teeth to get them to get rushing yardage. But, I mean, can we stop with Jaleel McLaughlin? I don't think he's going to be a needle mover. He's just a guy. He's just a change-up. If anyone does anything, it's either Javonte or Audric Estime. So, yeah, I would move Waddle, basically. Still, I would move Waddle because it's not like Javonte is a great asset right now. Spears, I think Spears is a pretty decent buy low, by the way. And Charbonnet is week to week here with Kenny Walker. Emma, McLaurin, Cooper, and Kirk were cut by teams in my league. I can pick up 2. Wow. Man, that's really difficult. Very tough. I mean, they all have bad situations. I'd go Kirk 1 because he's got the most stable quarterback in Lawrence. Then McLaurin or Cooper. Boy, I'm going to go Cooper because I think he's a better player. And maybe there's not much difference between Jaden Daniels getting the receiver the ball and Deshaun Watson. He was a little bit better last week, was Watson. Brian agrees with me. There you go. See here, Anthony De La Cruz. Would you trade Ayuk and Bowers for Amon-Ra and Mandrews? Ooh, boy. No. Not with Debo out for a few weeks. No, I would not trade Ayuk and Bowers. I am so stupid and mad at myself for not giving Brock Bowers more love, because if you listen to me on SiriusXM, I've been talking about this guy for 2-3 years, and I never talk about college players. I'm like, oh my God, I just didn't really see it there. But man, they're getting it done. And Gardner Minshew's been pretty solid. They are spreading the ball around to the point where like it's not sustainable that you can support 2 to 3 viable receivers with their quarterback play. But Bowers is just so good, though. He commands the rock, and so does Ayuk. Ayuk is going to start kicking ass starting now. I would not do that. Sean asks again. Oh no, we already hit that one. Hump Day with Hansen continues here. We're an hour in. Let me try and barrel through here real quick. Thoughts on Brenton Strange? I'm not going there. I know they took him really early last year. I could be wrong. He could be pretty involved. I need to see another week from Strange. And we don't know about Evan Ingram. Like, what's his deal? Like, is he going to miss one more week? So I don't want to waste a pickup on Strange. But our guy, Thomas, thinks he's a good dynasty buy. I mean, I'm fine with that because I'm year to year with Evan Ingram, but I'm not sure about this year. Let's take a look here. Greg says CEH is on waivers. Let's keep it that way. By the way, he's off on some sort of, I don't know, mental break or whatever. We do need to keep in mind, I do, like, these are still human beings, and sometimes your head's not into the game. Basically, you're out of it. You have another issue that's affecting your play. Basically, that's probably the case with CEH, although maybe he's just not that good. But sometimes I definitely think it's the case with Sky Moore. I mean, because he's dead. It's over. Like, why? His second round pick. I know a lot of people liked him. I don't think they used him well. Got to play this guy in the slot. They never did, so they hurt him there. But he just lost it mentally. He lost his confidence. It happens. I'm telling you, it happens. Top of the muffin to you as well, Will. Christian Watson or Quentin Johnston, rest of the season. By the way, your guys are killing it in the morning on Sirius. Of course they are, because they would be my guys. There's a correlation there. No, just kidding. Kidding, not kidding. Man, I'm gonna go Johnston. Rest of the season. He's getting a little bit more in terms of the designed looks. They're actually very similar players. He's getting more so far of the designed looks, and he's getting the red zone love that Watson gets as well. Downfield looks, maybe not as much. They're very comparable, but I'm going to go Quentin Johnston right now because, well, he's got the better quarterback. I mean, Love could certainly miss another couple weeks here. Kyle asks, or states, been listening to you since 06 here in Charleston. Thank you very much. Love Charleston. Love Charleston. Check out Hotel Simone down there. Kyle, I'm already way ahead of you. I've been to the Barrier Island Brewing next to that hotel. I've even talked to and become friends with Matt, the bartender, who's a Jets fan. So I'm way ahead of you here, man. But good tip. Good tip. I am the annoying guy who finds out about stuff before everyone else. That's always been the case. I don't miss anything. Like Kyle, do you miss the Hominy Grill in Charleston? Over there on Rutledge Street, I believe. I'm sure you do miss the Hominy Grill. It's literally the best breakfast place I've ever eaten at in Charleston. And the chef got bored, I guess, and he retired. But anyways, good stuff there from Kyle. Kendall, for the guys you named, who are some of the players you would trade for them? I would love if you could add that to the article. Yeah, I hear you. Maybe I need to suck it up and try. But let me take a quick look. Okay, so you're looking to trade for Jordan Love. Obviously, his value is down a little bit. You're not trading another quarterback for him. That would be a little dumb. So who would be a good running back that you could trade for Jordan Love? I mean, running backs are getting the love this year. The bell cows are a little bit more valuable than your average quarterback. So I would go a little lower, like David Montgomery. Not bad. Maybe Tony Pollard in terms of a receiver would be a good one. Like a Zay Flowers, maybe a little lower than that. I mean, Zay is probably way up there on your league leaderboard there. Man, how about a Tank Dell? There you go. Tank Dell has been Skank Dell. Hate to say it. We love Tank, but he's been Skank. Drake London, Pickens. It's not bad. Someone like that. I wouldn't want to trade like a Olave because he's a little bit of a. You got to remember, think about the capital. Think about someone who's going off the board around when Jordan Love was going off the board. So that would be, like Pollard or trying to think of one more decent example. I mean, Xavier Worthy, something like that. Or maybe even like a younger guy who was going way later, like a Brian Thomas, who I underrated this summer as well. Dylan, are you taking the over on yards for Wilson, Stevenson, and Hall for tomorrow's game? Probably not Wilson. Probably Stevenson and Hall. I will look hardcore at the game, today, obviously, and we'll have a Thursday night special that will pop out. I'll do it on SiriusXM tomorrow morning, and then we'll do it on the live stream. We'll get it out to the people. Doing pretty well on the Thursday night special. Now, I actually had a Monday night special that hit as well. Wouldn't have done much in terms of season-long fantasy, but I had Ray McLeod over the 2.5 catch prop and the yardage prop. They both hit, so that was pretty special right there. We got Jonnu Smith right the week before. I got Lazard right. So we're doing pretty well in these nationally televised games other than week one when Rashad Bateman was a special, and he did diddly poo. Ryan, Steele, Rico, or Bucky as a flat? I think we're looking at Bucky. I mean, Rico got a little bit of play last week. I would probably look at Bucky. I don't know, man. That's tough. Raider Rocks got Zach Charbonnet on my bench. Looking for a home run swing in a 0.5 PPR. Drop Zach for Braylon Allen or Ty Chandler. Wow, Ty Chandler looked really good on some runs last week. Best he's ever looked. And we are fully expecting Aaron Jones to miss some time. So I'm going to go Ty Chandler if you're going to make a move. I don't know if I do it though, because Zach Charbonnet is going to have value this week maybe. And Ken Walker guy's hurt a lot. I mean, let's be honest here. Hurt a lot, and he has this oblique thing. It's kind of a pain tolerance deal. 2 tank 1, Tyler Johnson or Jacoby. I'm telling you, Tyler Johnson. It's not a lock, but if it hits, it's going to do a lot better than Myers. I was very high on Myers last year. Not this year, although he's doing a little bit better than I thought. If Mixon and Dameon Pierce are both out in a non-PPR, Akers, Devontae, I would go with Akers. I mean, if Mixon and Pierce are out, I'd go with Akers. I mean, he's a guy who's going to pile up some touches in that environment. What are we going to do? Feed the rock to Dare Agumbawale? No. Akers is a thing. He's kind of like laying in the weeds a little bit. Might actually have some value. Again, Mixon's going to be the guy. This is only if Mixon is out or wears down, but he is already banged up. Rob, Cousins or Lawrence or Caleb Williams? I'm going Lawrence with that one this week. Deontay or Quentin Johnston rest of the season. 0.5 PPR. That's a tough one. In a 0.5, I might go Quentin Johnston. Deontay, as great as he's been, not a big touchdown guy. Parrot Head, he's back. I already got that one. Damn it. Chase Taylor, Jawan Jennings, or Mooney. Man, Jawan Jennings was balling. He's good. Jawan Jennings is freaking good. And the thing you love about him is he doesn't get a lot of attention, really. Like, he's always the guy that if you're playing Bill Belichick this week, Bill Belichick's like, we'll just let Jawan Johnson beat us if he's going to, so that's good. I do like Mooney this week. Let's see. I'm going to let our rankings make that call for us. Who does Chris Weck have higher between Mooney and Jawan Jennings? We're digging deep here. We are digging deep for some recos, if you will. Would like to see Mooney do it a little bit more. And Mooney's floor is freaking scary. It's like Mooney's floor is non-existent. You fall and gravity takes over, and then you're just in a hell pit forever. Like, that's Mooney's floor. Like an ugly goose egg. It's like 5 targets, 2 drops, goose egg. That's the floor. Let's see. Let's see who's higher. DJ Moore. I'm going to guess it's Jennings. There it is. It's Jennings. Wow. Yeah, Jennings. I mean, wow. He's got Jennings over Pickens this week. I don't know about that one. But he has got Jennings there looking good here with that matchup. So we're going to go with Jennings over against the LA. Whittington or Perine in a standard for bench stash. Perine. Whittington is still a little bit of a man without a solidified role. You do have Tutu Atwell still there. Need 2 for week 3. DK, Pickens, Jameson Williams, JSN, or McLaurin. I'm going to say it right here. Pickens or DK will not do it this week. The reason he did it last week, I believe, and this again is another kidding, not kidding situation. He did it because I was playing against him in my number 1 league. I have been a DK hater, and in this number 1 league, the radio league for SiriusXM, I am telling you, I have gone up against DK Metcalf about 7 or 8 times in the last 4 years, and I'm telling you, every time he's gone absolutely nuts. In fact, last week was the worst game he had against me, and he only caught 10 balls for 129 and a tutty. Normally, he catches like 3 tutties. I once lost a championship in this league 2 years ago on a 3-tutty DK Metcalf game. So, just saying. Well, that said, though, I mean, we are going to use him. I'm going to go DK, Pickens, and JMO there. You're not using McLaurin unless you kind of have to there, Kendall, and you don't really kind of have to. Kyle asks, Gesicki or Hunter? I assume that's Hunter Henry. I'll go Hunter Henry there. Yeah, Brenton Strange. Again, I mean, he was a weird pick when they made it. I mean, people were like, what? Like, what was he? Wasn't he a 2nd-round pick? Didn't do anything last year. I mean, I'm not seeing it with Brenton Strange. I could be wrong, though. I mean, he only caught 3 of 6 targets. I mean, what are we thinking here? Like, why are we thinking it's going to be all this great? I mean, he got 6 targets, caught 3 of them. I don't know. He made 1 big play. I'm not exactly feeling it. So, our guy Thomas is Mr. Dynasty, though. He does say he's an interesting Dynasty guy. What is this, year 2 of the career, right? Year 2, right? I mean, he's had a strange career. Yeah, this is year 2. How many balls did he catch last year? Not many. 8. Caught 8. Actually, no. 5. He only caught 5 balls last year. I mean, I know Evan Ingram was great, but 5? That's a little weird. Fatty McFats keeps forgetting this is on. Now I have an alarm set. Hey, Fatty, you're not the only one. I keep forgetting this is on, and I'm me. So you can imagine. Fatty asks, is McLaurin even worth rostering? I mean, not in an 8 or 10 team league at this point. I know I'm not trying to overreact here, but very underwhelming. But yeah, he is obviously. But we need to get things clicking. I feel like not to be doomsday or anything like that, but geez, I mean, it's kind of been a doomsday kind of year. I feel like there'll be a game where we finally see signs of life at Jaden Daniels getting it to McLaurin, like, oh, here we go, baby. And then Daniels will get hit and then miss time. So I just wonder if it's ever going to happen under Cliff Kingsbury, because he stinks, basically. Fall off a Cliff Kingsbury. That's what he does. That would be scary if that's the case, because that's not a very high cliff we're falling off of based on the first 2 weeks in terms of the passing game. Remember the first couple of games with Kingsbury, with Kyler Murray in Arizona, they were like, oh, wow, they're great. And it's like, yeah, okay, we'll see what happens in a month. And in a month, they fell off the cliff. Billy Bob has got likely, but should I go to the waiver wire for a tight end this week? Henry was taken. I mean, yeah, over likely. I mean, I don't think you feel great starting likely right now after at least last week. I mean, he's kind of like in the mix as a top 12 guy, but like, is he locked in as a top 12 guy? No, because there'll be other guys with matchups that are looking good, and then that'll push him down the board. Like the aforementioned Brenton Strange. I mean, I see we do have him. If we're talking this week, I can understand it against Buffalo, because I did love Jonnu Smith last week and he crushed it. So I can see it this week for Brenton Strange over a guy like Likely. But who else would I pick up? Would I drop Likely for this week for Brenton Strange? No, I'd rather not. How about Zach Ertz? Can you get him and see what you see with Likely? Because my joking prediction on Zach Ertz all summer was no one knows he's still in the NFL, but through week 5, he'll be the tight end 9. Let's take a look at where he is right now. We're only through week 2, but I bet she's in the top 12 in PPR. Yes, there he is, tight end 8. 2 games, 6 grabs, or actually 7 grabs on 8 targets for 90. Wow, 12.9 yards a catch. Look at that. Let's go to Jay Prug. Needs his help. He's 0-2. Uh-oh. With 5 of the 12. Uh-oh. Ooh. 5 of the 12 for the Hansen 50. Love is injured. Not my fault. Rashad White could be my fault. Debo, that's not my fault. He was crushing it. 1 point for every 20 yards receiving, half a point PPR. Which waiver wire wide receiver? Ty Johnson, Naylor, or Tolbert? Ooh. Whoa. Ty Johnson is, what are we doing here? Is it Quentin Johnston? Because Ty Johnson's a running back. I will use this opportunity. I am really liking Jalen Naylor. I'm just thinking about like the ballerism he's shown, the blocking, the improvement. He's the guy. He's the guy to get while Addison and Jefferson are banged up. And, of course, Hawkinson is out. I'm really feeling it with Jalen Naylor. Greg says start all Bengal wide receivers against the Redskins. Yeah, I mean, you could, if you're considering Yosevis, yes. I mean, I'm not using Trenton Irwin, and we'll see about T. Higgins. Trade Eckler for Swift. Hey, that's not bad. I don't like Swift at all. Didn't like him this summer, but that's not bad at all. Eckler actually looks good, but Brian Robinson is getting more love. He's getting all the red zone love, goal line, and he's getting some catches. Yeah, Jay Prug, I would hold on to Kirk. Things will get better. He's had a couple of bad matchups. He's 15th in the league in ADOT out of like 260 receivers, which is not going to continue. Russell, can we get? He's a good lad. There you go. Wasn't good last week though. Was not good last week. Producer D, good morning. 0-2 with Mahomes, Kelsey. Oops, sorry. Trade Mahomes for Purdy and Pickens. I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm less enthusiastic about Purdy with the Debo thing, but again, they're going to get Ricky back. Ricky was good. Ricky was getting it done before the injury. A little coffee there. I mean, I'm not, especially if you need a wide receiver, by the way. If I had a little hole at wide receiver and maybe I had a viable tight end, I'm okay with that. I mean, because you're not trading Kelsey, by the way. I forget that. You're not trading Kelsey. So Purdy and Pickens for Mahomes, yes. If I needed a receiver especially, yes. Let's see here. Yeah, I would drop Zeke for Jalen Wright all day long. That's a good one there. Sergio. Cubes, 305 Cubes, start 10 team, Dynasty PPR, Metcalf, Taylor, Harrison, London, Pickens. I'd go Pickens, Taylor, and then either Metcalf or Harrison. London, I'd be a little worried about this week. Feel better about him, but this week, the one thing is he will get special attention some weeks, like this week against the Chiefs, they're starting to kind of take out like a number one receiver. So that would be the old Bill Belichick trick. So that would be a problem here for Drake London this week. So that could be a game where Darnell Mooney gets some love. What to make of Pittman? Yeah, I'm very worried about Pittman, but I can't start Pierce over him just yet. I mean, Pierce is making those downfield plays. He's very good in straight line-ish ways, if you will, but not a complete player. The route tree is not great, in the short game, intermediate game. And so that's where Pittman is going to usually get his. AR is struggling. They're going to run the ball, obviously. They're kind of spreading the ball around a little bit. I mean, it's a real problem for Pittman. I mean, it's a real problem. And I hate myself for liking Pittman this summer because last year I was worried about Pittman based on Richardson. And everything that I was worried about is happening this year, basically. Obviously, I did not know that Gardner Minshew would get 13 damn starts last year. That was really the key. So what we're seeing with Pittman is what I was worried about last year. Only 2 games. It's not going to be this bad, but clearly Michael Pittman's upside is limited. Would you drop Scary Terry or Deontay Johnson to pick up Alec Pierce? Nah. I know it's it's tempting when you see him way up there on your leaderboard. Nah, I'm not going to do that. Tim, drop Schubert for Zamir White. Absolutely. If Zamir White doesn't get it done this week, then you can cut his ass. But I think he will. I think he'll get 20 carries. It's at home. It's in Vegas. Panthers are going to be a little bit better with Andy Dalton, but overall, pretty good matchup. Duncan, Goff, or Stroud? Stroud all day long. He's playing a little bit better than Goff. We'll get Tank Dell going at some point. Fludge, do you think Cincy Washington might be a trap game? No, because the Bengals are 0-2, and if this is a trap game and they come up small, then they don't deserve anything. On national television, no, I don't. I think it's going to be Burrow crushing them. That's going to be a crappy game, though. Oh, boy. Troy, full PPR, Godwin, Ayuk, Devontae Adams, Rice, JSN. Wow. Godwin's your wide receiver 1. I'm not sitting Ayuk, though. I just can't. I mean, how do you sit Ayuk with Debo out? He's done very well without Debo there. He's averaging just under 100 yards a game. So I'm going to go Ayuk and then probably Godwin. Maybe not chase points with Devontae. I do like Devontae, though. He'll see a lot of J.C. Horn. But, man. And then now I got Rice, too. How do you sit Rice? Jeez. I'm going to go, man, you only picked 2? I guess Ayuk is a little risky there then. All right, go Godwin and Rice. The inside guys, they're reliable. You're going to miss out on some upside on Ayuk, though. Is it time to panic on Christian Kirk? Jake, no, it's not. He's 15th out of like 260 receivers in ADOT. So I don't think that's going to continue to be the case. Russell, should I trade away Gibbs or Monty for a better tight end? Currently have Schultz and Ingram on the bench. He's got Stevenson. Man, I would not, Russ. You're just going to have to suck it up and stream at tight end and find matchup guys, I think, until Evan Ingram is back. Tony. Hey, Tony. How you doing? Mike Jones has a comment. Oh, Hominy Grill. Yeah, there it is. I know, Mike. Yeah, man. The nasty biscuit, the chicken biscuit smothered in gravy. Ooh, boy. You eat that in the morning and then you go immediately take a nap because like you've had so much sugar and carbs that you must go take a nap. Unbelievable. Raider rocks. Rest of the season looking for a home run play from my bench. I think we answered this one. Charbonnet for now, but if I was looking at the entirety of the whole year, I might go Ty Chandler over him. I think we're pretty much all caught up. Ben asks thoughts on Kincaid. I think you just suck it up. I mean, I'm worried. They're spreading the ball around. They're running it a lot. Definitely worried. But if I drafted Kincaid, I think I would just suck it up and go with him every week because the only thing that could make the Kincaid situation worse is benching him the next couple of weeks, let's say, and he has a big game. So you drafted him as your starter, give it another week or two, and hope we get a little bit more love and start getting some touchdowns. What are your thoughts on Hawkinson when he returns? I think he'll be all right. You know, Sam Darnold acquitting himself well. He should be very active. They do throw it a lot. I mean, he'll be a tight end one. He'll be like a healthy Hawkinson in this offense right now is still probably a top 6 guy, obviously. Let's be honest. Greg, we need Daily Guru. No. Well, you do get Daily Guru. It's not like I'm taking days off. It's just some days I don't do this. If you read Hansen's hints on Sunday morning, you can understand how many freaking hours that takes. It's like 20. Ed asks, Evans, Ayuk, Devontae, and Lamb. I mean, I am not physically able to say a negative thing about Devontae Smith at this point. So he's in. You're obviously not sitting Lamb. So it's, I guess, Evans or Ayuk. Let's take a look here. Evans or Ayuk. I do like Ayuk this week against those Rams. Their defense is really, really struggling. Yeah, we're going Ayuk over Evans this week. The problem with Evans, and I did write this in the Players to Trade and Trade for article. This will be an interesting litmus test. Someone remind me in a month where we are with this. I know Mike is still good, still getting the separation. Baker's good, but you can take Mike out a little bit with press man coverage and the like. He's got Pat Surtain this week. Then Philly will be all right. Then you're probably going to see a lot of A.J. Terrell, and then you're going to see his nemesis, Marshawn Lattimore. So will Mike Evans have a month-long little drought here? I would lean yes. So that's good news for Godwin. Would you drop Christian Kirk for Christian Watson? Man, yeah, I probably would. Can we get an update on Gorific players languishing on my bench? Caleb, well, let's get going a little bit here. It's only 2 games. Khalil, he's balling. Like, use him if you need him. He's not getting a ton of targets and love, but he's good. I mean, he's 2 good games in a row. I mean, so I think we're good there. Ferguson got hurt. Anyone that would have made it if you were writing the draft plan today? Oh, hell yeah. Hells yeah. That's a great question. Let me answer that real quick, and we'll wrap it up here because we've already got an hour and a half already. Hour and 20. What are my biggest regrets? I mean, Baker. I've been on Baker and off Baker, on and off. I'm not going to say it's a regret just yet, though. It's only 2 games. So I don't really have any major regrets at quarterback thus far. Certainly regret that Jordan Love got hurt. But, you know, I was into Love, Richardson, Burrow, and who else? Who the hell else? You know, Caleb and Daniels. Yeah, but I was very picky with the quarterbacks this year. I tried to be very picky. I really did. I tried to be decisive, if you will, and say basically I'm love or bust. Of course, that's not going well, but it's not my fault, and it's not over. So we have a chance. It sucks. It does suck. I guess I'd have to give a little bit more love to Kamara. Give a little bit more love to Achane, although it's already been all over the map. Tua is already out. He's already been on the injury report. I'm going to hold off on that. I did give love to Dobbins. Not a ton, but if you read the draft plan, he was in there a couple of times. I did draft him a couple of times at running back. I believe I made sure I was over his ADP as well. Other regrets. I regret giving a little too much love to my guy, Tajay Spears. But I went back and I looked. I actually did have Pollard ranked over his ADP as well. So I kind of like both guys. There's got to be some other regrets here. I have regrets about Rachaad White. I had a bad feeling all year, and I kind of wrote about that in the good vibes, bad vibes. But I just thought, okay, he's still going to show up to work every day, basically. I'm not yet regretting Malik Neighbors, even though he's crushing. I am regretting Nico Collins, though. Because I did think, that he might not rise above everyone else like he has, but he has. So I regret that. That's probably my biggest regret. Godwin, I was on Jameson. I was on Debo, who's doing well. He's hurt now. I was on Devontae. I was way over market on Rashee Rice. It's a pretty good year so far. Didn't like Kupp, by the way. Those are my two biggest mistakes thus far. Collins and Malik Neighbors. We'll see about Malik Neighbors if he can keep this up. Yeah, I guess it's not that bad. It's frustrating because I get very confident in my takes. Oh, and I really regret not giving Brock Bowers more love. What the hell? Very, very regretful on that one right there. I worried about a rookie tight end. I worried about a weak quarterback. I worried about a weak offense. I worried about Devontae commanding the ball. I worried about Mayer still being involved. There's a lot of things I was worried about, but turns out he's more than fine. 15 grabs in 2 games is unbelievable. I'll wrap it up here. You guys out there on the interwebs and our Fantasy Point subscribers, you are unbelievable. It's always very flattering when we get so much love from the masses out there. We really appreciate it. Certainly helps energize, recharge the batteries when we get mid-season and the grind starts wearing on us a little bit. It's not easy. But then again, we get paid to talk about fake football. So it's pretty damn good. I'll wrap this edition of Hump Day with Hansen up right here. Hopefully we answered enough of your questions out there. Special thanks to our guy, Tommy T-Bone on the other side of the glass. I'll be back tomorrow night here on the YouTube channel with Graham Barfield and Brett Whitefield. That is a must-watch/listen. The Week 3 edition of Matchup Points here on FantasyPoints.com. That'll do it for this one. Again, we'll catch you next time here at FantasyPoints.com.
What? Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome.